It was inspired. I can testify to the authenticity of how inspired it was and where it came from, this universe. Everybody cast a debate. Oh, let's carry on. So I was thinking, a good name for this Panda would be Miranda. Now, looking at this whole thing, it seems to be a critical thinking exercise I'm engaged in. We're getting deep without getting deep. So what I'm going to do is analyze the words. To begin with, I have the word random. Now what I have here is the etymology of random. Let me bring it up. Okay, here it is. The origin and history of random. Random, adjective, 1650s. In quotations, having no definite aim or purpose, back, haphazard, not sent in a special direction, end of quotes. From the phrase at random, the 1560s, at great speed, thus scarcely haphazardly, from an alteration of the Middle English noun random, R-A-N-D-O-N, random, R-A-N-D-O-U-N, meaning impetuosity, impetuously, impetuosity, speed, circa 1300. That's with a 1300. In this old French Rwandan rush disorder, force, impetuosity, from Varanda, R-A-N-D-I-R, to run fast, from Frankish rant, a running, or some other Germanic source from Proto-Germanic, Randa, Old High German rennen, to run, Old English rennen, to flow, to run. Spelling shifts from seldom and ransom. Hence we get random from seldom and ransom. In the 1980s, U.S. college students slang, it began to acquire a sense of inferior, undesirable. In 1980, William Sapphire Collin described it as a college slang noun meaning person who does not belong in a dormitory, floor, random access, in reference to computer memory that need not read sequentially, is recorded from 1953. Related randomly, randomness. That's what I get on this next word, which is a variation of random. Ransom. Someone pay for the release of a prisoner or captured man. Redemption from damnation. Ransom, with an R-A-N-S-O-N, modern French, rançon. Earlier ransom, ransom redemption, from Latin redemptionem, nominative redemptio, a redeeming, from radimaya, to redeem, buy back, from red, to buy, back, gain, procure, from pi root, P-I-E, pi, M, to take, distribute, doublet of redemption, double redemption, seldom random. But the reason is unclear. Spelling came in the late 14th century. The braided word somehow revived by Scott, early 19th century. The reason is unclear, they say. It's very random, isn't it? Alright, so without going any further, it seems to have come from run and seldom. So it's something that rarely happens. So I'm done with this tab now. Now let's go to Varanda, where I will do the same. I will look it up. Right, we're not getting that deep. It's deep as it is without getting deep. I'm looking at this as a critical thinking exercise from the inception of the word entering the consciousness to its carryover into other rhyming words or words that have nothing to do with each other. They are totally random. Abstract critical think. Abstract. That's what I was getting to. So let's take off the word veranda. Also veranda with an H. Open portico on the exterior of a building with a roof on pillars and railing. 1711 Anglo-Indian from Hindi veranda, which, is probably from Portuguese randa, originally long balcony or terrace, a word of uncertain origin, possibly a European word used in Indian context and found there by the English who were relatively comers to India, in which case it might represent Spanish veranda railing. The ultimately from Vulgar Latin, barrier, bar. Interesting, bar. Comes from bar. French veranda is borrowed from English. The word is used in England, and the French was brought by the English from India. It need not be doubted, but either in the same or in one closely analogous, it appears to have existed quite independently. In Portuguese and Spanish, the manner in which it occurs, without exception, in the very earliest narrative of the adventure of Portuguese in India, seems almost to preclude the possibility for having learned it in the country for the first time. Learning it in that country. Colonel Henry Yule and A.C. Bennell Hobson, a glosser of colloquial Anglo-Indian words and phrases of 1903. Porch is another associated term. Porticus, pi root, to lead Passover. Stoop, American and Canadian from Dutch, stoep, flight of steps. Threshold, snapstack, step. Proto-Germanic, step. So step is also part of this one. So we've gone from random to veranda to steps and then pots and burial. Interesting. Now let's go on. Let's carry on with have random, lacking definite plan, purpose, or pattern. Now this is what the definition is clearly stating on at Merriam-Webster website. Number 1A, lacking a definite plan, purpose, or pattern. And that's exactly what I went into this thinking I was doing. Critically thinking, however, it spawned from a very random, out of nowhere thought pattern, I'd say. It's not even a pattern, because it could be a pattern if you look at it long enough span of time, but let's just say, you're thinking of a peanut butter sandwich and you sit there next thing, you think of the word random and you try to critically examine where the originating idea spawned from in your conscious thinking. So then we've gone past the veranda. We know what that is and what it associates itself with in our language. Now next is the panda. Now we'll look at panda. Alright, I haven't. Okay, yes, not a panda yet, because randomness is the meaning of, is the word used mostly in this current age. I would say we call this with language instead of the 19th century. We're in the 20th century, 21st century. So let's see. Yes, because randomness. That takes us to the quality of a word attached to an adjective denotes quality, or past participle to form an abstract noun. So it's an abstract noun. It creates abstract nouns. Understand? Old English ness with one S. From Proto-Germanic and Aussie, cognates Old Saxon nissi, N-I-S-S-I, Middle Dutch nis, Dutch nis, Old High German nissa, German nis, Gothic inassus, and yes, and in, originally belonging to the noun stem asu, abstract noun suffix. Probably the same root as Latin tudo. So this is where it ends up with tude as an attitude. Ness links to attitude. And ness is a term that gives words the ability to express abstract. So tude. Syllable formed when the word forming element ood, making abstract nouns from the adjectives and particles fixed to a base of another suffix, ending in t or te from French oud, from Latin udo, udo, stem uden, they call it native ness. So tude and ness are almost the same thing, in other words. However, yes, they both allow for the expression of an abstract idea. Bringing it back to randomness, this really has nothing to do with abstract. However, when you're talking about anything that enters your mind, random or whatever, it would be considered abstract until it is put on paper or expressed in some verbal form. Meaning, if the fifth dimension is an abstract, you're bringing from the fifth dimension into the third dimension by using this word, this spelling, multitudes, magnitudes, extent means extent in that form. Servitude, slavish condition of being a slave. hyperbolizing, greatness of size, extent, from rat, magnitudo, udo, finitude, finite plus tude. Alright, so that's from nestitude to udo to, sort of we're going with all of this. Randomness and the ability to manifest things from the 5 dimension to the 3rd dimension, from the abstract into the real world, so to speak. I understand this. Abstract. Existing in thought or as an idea, but not having a physical or concrete existence. Example, abstract concepts such as love or beauty. Theoretical, conceptual, notional, intellectual, metaphysical. So abstract means theoretical, conceptual, notional, intellectual, or metaphysical, or any other words too. Number 2, through abstract would be relating to or denoting art that does not attempt to represent external reality but seeks to achieve its effect using shapes, colors, and textures. Non-representational, non-realistic, non-pictorial, symbolic. So small symbols are abstract. Art does not attempt to represent external reality, but rather seeks to achieve effect by using colors, shapes, and textures. Abstract science and religion from their historical content can lead to, let's see, what's this? Consider something else. To abstract science and religion from their historical context can lead to anachronism. Anachronism. Extract anachronism, withdrawal. Make a written summary of an article or book is to abstract something. To summarize something. Example, staff who abstract material for an online database. Summarize. Abridge. Condense. The noun of abstract. A summary of contents of a book, oral speech example. An abstract of her speech. Synopsis. Outline. Abstract work of art. Example, a big unframed abstract. Interesting, right? Okay. So this is not really getting anywhere, is it? So, with that, I'm going to leave it right there because it's 30 minutes. And that said everything I needed to say about that train of thought, that strain, we call it stream of consciousness. I was inspired by random thought. So here I attacked it with its own thought. In other words, I tried to dissect it, deconstruct